Occupation is a legal term. However, it's become very politicized and has even become a libel with no legal basis whatsoever. And a lot of the times, people are using the term occupation with the intent to imply that Jews are foreigners to their own ancestral homeland of Israel. The concept of occupation in international law refers to foreign control of an area that was under the previous sovereignty of another state. Since the Roman Empire's colonization of Judea, in which they brutally displaced the native Jewish population, renamed Judea to Palestine as an act of colonization and as a way to disconnect Jews from this land. And so since then, since the Roman Empire's colonization, the land had failed to exist as a distinct political entity until Israel was again reestablished in 1948 after the Jews kicked out the final colonial power being the British and physically decolonized their land. So in addition to Israeli sovereignty coming from Jewish indigenous connection to the land and constant longtime presence in the land, Jewish sovereignty also comes from a universal rule in international law, and it's called the doctrine of uti possidetis juris. When you're applying the law, the first question that you should be asking is, what were Israel's borders at the time that it decolonized from the British in 1948? And the reason why we ask this question is because this rule says that when a colonizing power, the British, leaves a territory, the borders that existed prior will then be the borders of the new state. So in other words, it inherits the borders of the previous political entity in that area. So we ask next, what were the borders at the time of Israel's decolonization in 1948? It was the British Mandate borders, which included Jerusalem, Gaza, the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. So it included all of these territories. So under this principle that's universally applied to all other countries, Israel naturally and automatically has sovereign claims to title in this entire land. This rule was universally applied. It was applied to Syria, to Lebanon, to Iraq, to Jordan, and so it will also apply to Israel in 1948. In international law, you have a rule of general application. For instance, you can't have a general rule and then an exemption for a country that you just don't like. Like, that's not how international law works. So if you're going to be applying your made up rule to Israel, then you're going to have to apply it to all of these other countries that became a state as well.